every month we need to be a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more efficient.
We put people in and we gave them a basic level of training, but the basic level of training didn't teach how to connect.
People, I don't think, just naturally connect with someone. They actually do have to follow a process.
You know you have your strengths, know what your weaknesses are, develop those, and constantly reassess, constantly work back on them.
I won't just teach, this is what you say and this is how you handle it. I walk them out into the showroom and say, follow me, I'm going to show you how to do it.
Welcome to the Shift into Profit podcast, where leaders come to evolve, teams come to improve, and dealerships come to grow. Every episode delivers the insights you need to transform your people and maximize your performance. Let's shift your store into a new level of profit.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Shift into Profit, where I get to talk to, well, anybody and everybody I want to talk to, what it takes to shift our business into a higher profitable level. Today, I got two guests with me. I got Mike and Dale with me from Wise F&I. What's going on, guys? You a bunch of wise guys?
Bunch of wise guys.
You guys probably get that a lot, don't you?
Yeah,
You guys get that a lot?
We do.
We're like,
Yeah.
people come up to you and say, do they try to pretend to be like wise guys?
We don't get too much of that. You know, it would make sense. I will say we just ordered our fearless leader, a beautiful custom Wise Guy Red Sox jersey on a bet that he lost. So I'm looking forward to that arriving to the office here in a week or two. So that'll be fun.
You're going to post it online. I get to see
I
that
absolutely
picture,
am. Yep. Yeah, looking forward to it. So,
Well, guys, thanks for taking the time to come jam with me today. For everybody out there watching and listening, we appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to join this. We have a great conversation. We're going to talk all things about really processes and things that we need to do to shift our dealerships into a higher profitable state. Guys, I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story. A, because I'm fundamentally fascinated. I don't think anybody just wakes up one day and goes, yeah, the car business. That's what I'll go spend my career. All right, Dale, I'll start with you. And then, Michael, I'll get you as well.
sounds good.
How in the world did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
You know, it was kind of by chance. I was in the construction business and got pretty hard on the body and had to find an alternative way out of it. And I ended up doing an interview at a car dealership in rural Michigan, of all places.
Okay.
And I started at a car dealership that had no F&I department. They had never experienced F&I. I'd never done F&I. So my first day was their first day. And it started the first day of the struggle, trying to figure out what am I supposed to be doing here. And they didn't know what to expect of me and what to ask, and neither did I. So,
Sure.
It's really an interesting start, and it was a great segue into how do we grow and develop in this business. And we really spent a whole career chasing that, of where do we go for training, where do we go for help, and how do we make more money.
So you just got bit by the bug then?
I did. It initially didn't bite me. I kind of bit back.
You bit back.
Exactly. But, you know, the one thing you're going to find consistent in this business is that the car business, you don't get into it, it gets into you.
That's a good one, actually. I think I need that bumper sticker. I bet you a lot of you guys out there watching and listening right now probably need that bumper sticker too.
No question.
So anyways, it got into me eventually.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of while, but once it was there forever. So
Yeah, it's an amazing. This industry has given me an opportunity that I just don't think I'd ever receive anywhere else. And this is the one thing I love about this business. It doesn't matter from what walk of life you come into it. You know, if you got the hustle, you got the drive, you can really make something out of it. Mike, for yourself, how in the world did you get started in this business?
Well, I went to film school, if you believe that, and I wanted to be the next
awesome.
Scorsese, I guess, but maybe more Nicholas Pileggi, who wrote a lot of his early movies. And I knew that if I was going to move to California and try to do it, California, kind of an expensive place to live. So started selling cars in 2006 to try to earn some money to do that. And here we are. It's never moved to California, and very happy for it. This has been a great business. And to your point, when I look at what makes this space really, in my opinion, truly special, it's the last meritocracy. Yeah. No one cares where you came from.
Nope.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the pedigree. It's can you deliver, right? And if you can deliver, right, you know, it's a great and lucrative industry.
Well, and I'm glad that you bring that up because I think for a lot of the leaders out there watching and listening right now, that is your expectation. You want your team to show up and you want them to deliver, but we have to set them up for success. And guys, I don't know about you, but now this last year I realized, because I actually counted, I was in 467 dealerships this last year. And Dale, you may actually have me beat on that. It sounds like it's a good possibility.
Been in a lot.
Guys, There's some amazing operators out there, and I'm telling you that because they're probably watching the podcast right now, and that's why they watch the podcast.
Yeah.
The great operators, but the level of talent that exists in our business right now is a little alarming. And I think as leaders, we got to commit to really training and developing out our teams, and the best operators out there do that. So this is kind of a perfect segue into kind of our conversation today. I'd love to get both of you guys' perspective. From an operations perspective, where should we be focusing our efforts right now so that we can just shift our way into a higher profitable state? So I'll start with you, Dylan, then Mike, I'll ask you the same.
Well, it's a good question because one of the things that I've learned is that every dealership that you go into operates differently than the last. The one thing that is consistent is that they're all inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
So they have different processes, they have different procedures and how they function. And one of the things I think dealers struggle with is that, as the business gets tighter and tighter and revenue shrink further and further,
Sure.
they have to look and find new ways of generating revenue that they haven't experienced themselves. And when you see the same thing every day, you become a little bit immune to it.
Yes.
And it's really hard to step out of that box and really take a deep dive into your production and your store and be able to see the minute little changes that you can do that have a significant impact in generating new revenue. So it's kind of like when I come into a store, I'm able to get a fresh perspective from a new lens that they're not necessarily looking at their own store through.
I think that's a great suggestion, right?
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, I'm thinking back when I was a dealer and I owned my dealership. You're right. I got a little blindsided or got those blinders on, because I'm so entrenched into my operations that I don't necessarily see other perspectives. And I think bringing someone in to get a fresh perspective is a great first step, right? Mike, what about for you? Anything that maybe
kind of to echo Dale's point, the challenge that we run into, we get busy being busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the day-to-day for a general sales manager, general manager, you have so many different areas that you're trying to maximize your opportunity on. Training often falls by the wayside. It often looks like, hey, you didn't get a license, right? Copy here on this last deal, right? That's the training that we go through in the morning, right? In our sales meeting here. And maybe on Saturday, we do some walk arounds, we review, maybe we touch our used car inventory and the like. Maybe in F&I, hey, what's a good objection? What's a good word track?
Sure.
And it kind of stops there in a lot of our stores here. And the challenge that I think that we're running into is you have more and more talent coming in, and the expectations of delivering in this post-COVID world have changed, right? We're not seeing the margins that we were in the past, right? We've got to get back to some of those basics here, or we're going to fail this new generation of kids that didn't have the chance to kind of ride the high level of COVID. And one of the things that I think is really going to drive this forward, and there's just, if you're not doing this already, I think you're going to risk being left behind, is how you're implementing AI in your platforms, how you're implementing AI in the training space, right?
Yes.
There are a lot of different new solutions here. And, Dale and I have had a chance to see some great AI solutions within the training space. You need a solid platform on that, because if you don't have one, when you look at your competition around you who's using one, they have effectively a in-store coach, in-store trainer that can be on demand, available to every single person that works at your store all the time. Really kind of sharpen the saw there, because that's, I think, the biggest area where we miss is we may have a good training session on a Saturday morning. We may cover things very well, and then no one thinks about it again. There's no repeat. There's no practice. There's no review of, did I get it right? Did I not? Because we're just frankly too busy to do it all.
Well, it's consistency, right? I mean, consistency breeds efficiency. Absolutely. And you're 100% right. And I love the fact that you bring up AI, because, I work with a lot of dealers and I work with a lot of AI companies. And, one of the things I realized going into 2026, looking at the partners that I was going to have, is that I kind of put a line in the sand. And I said, look, I'm not going to work with any AI company that is not going to empower the people. I think there's too many companies out there that are trying to find ways to replace them. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it just rubs me the wrong way. And I think for a lot of people out there watching, listening, you guys, look, we're a people business. I think we're always going to be a people business.
Agreed.
I think we're too quick to want to replace an individual with a piece of technology when we really just haven't given our full effort to empower them and give them the tools necessary. And I think there's amazing companies out there that are providing that, and that with support like what you guys do for the dealership. You to your point, Mike, you have that real time, consistent insights, coaching, and that's just like, look, we're just here to make people better. The better our people are, the better our processes are, the better our profitability we have. So I got a question then for you guys, because you guys are on the road a lot too. You guys have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not just talking about the amazing Clint Eastwood movie, which, by the way, is like hands down my favorite movie of all time. Because I literally, did you ever get that one movie where like you can watch it like 20 times and just never get bored? Actually, I'm going to ask you guys real quick. What is that movie for you guys? Dale, what's the one?
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely. I don't miss it every time it's on. It's an instant stop.
Yeah. Mike, what about you? What's that?
Oh, probably Goodfellas. Goodfellas or Casino are the two that popped into my head.
That's not just because we're in Vegas.
Not just because we're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pacing's great.
I thought for sure you'd say Ricky Bobby, but
it's close. That's a close second. Yeah, I'd say Step Brothers for me if I'm going into the into the repertoire of Will Ferrell. Yeah.
If I had to pick a second one for me, guys, it's the Goonies.
I like the Goonies,
right?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
Chuck loves slot.
Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you get these guys together. We talk about fun stuff.
Right.
No, you guys have seen the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm curious, guys. What are you seeing out there right now that dealerships are doing well, and maybe places of opportunity? Mike, I'll start with you, and then Dale, I'll ask you the same question.
I think that right now we've had a little bit in the last year of a return to what I would say normal times. Mm-hmm. And I think it's humbled some people. And I think that the people that are leading the charge have learned from that and have really devoted a lot of resources and time to bettering up their processes. I think F&I has become it's always been important, but I was talking to a dealer the other day, and when you look at percentage of the bottom line, right, you have stores where F&I has become 25, 30% of the total profitability of the store, right? And when you think about the expense-related F&I, obviously it becomes very profitable square footage. So I've seen this return where the focus has become not just on taking orders and, everyone's going to buy everything because that's the way it is. It's back to what I like to call some selling required, and stores that are doing a good job investing in that area of training and consistently monitoring and measuring, am I getting the results I expect when I have a training done, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you use somebody from the outside, whether you have somebody internally, there should be a return. Am I doing a core comp with my people, and am I getting it? And if I'm not getting it, then where is the failure point? Did I have the wrong training? Yeah. Do I have the wrong person? Is it a combination of the two? Do they not mix? And when you do that well and you're constantly reassessing, and it's the return to every month we need to be a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more efficient. I think that those stores right now are really pacing themselves well to have a lot of success in the future.
I'm with you, Dale. I know you spend a lot of time inside dealerships. I think we literally just talked last week while you were flying to one of them. So exactly. What are you seeing on the road right now?
I think the biggest disconnect today is the fact that with the technologies, going back to the AI and the things that we see in the dealerships, is that in lieu of a solid process and a solid understanding of how we generate profit in the F&I office, it's a heavy dependence on, AI is going to save us. Mm-hmm. And we can't lean that direction. One of the things that's always made F&I valuable to a dealer is being able to connect with your customer emotionally, be curious about the customer.
Sure.
If we can't be curious and empathetic with the customer, how do we ever expect to lead them?
That's a good point.
And you can't lead them or help them see value in a process if you're not caring and concerned about what their ownership experience is going to be like.
Sure.
I don't think AI will ever replace that connection. The human connection is what sells products. And one of the things that happened during COVID is that the manpower turnover happened so quickly in some of these offices that we put people in and we gave them a basic level of training, but the basic level of training didn't teach how to connect.
That's a good point.
It taught them to sit in an office secluded from the showroom, offer the products, but not make a connection to the products with their customers. And one of the things I'm seeing most is when I go into a dealership, is grabbing the F&I person and saying, "Hey, look, the customer's here.
Yeah.
Let's go out and talk to them. And they said, well, what are we going to talk to them about? Our jobs. We're going to go out. We're going to go talk to them about what has their ownership experience been like on the last car. What good experiences, what bad experiences did you have, and are you coming here hoping to have something different than that experience this time?
Yeah.
So that human element, that connection, just getting out of the office. And one of the things you see is as you're training and you're working with these people is you see their faces light up and they make the connection and they go, oh my God, this makes sense. And when they come out of their office and when they engage the customer, one of the things, they took a new person the other day and we went out and walked around the customer's trade car.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what are we doing this for? Well, we're going to do this because it's going to tell us what the experience was like in the past vehicle.
Sure.
And now they're here to buy another vehicle. Well, how do we enhance that? How do we make that better this time? And
so wait, that was the F&I manager?
It was.
Oh my gosh, I like that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I like the F&I manager.
I'm going to tell a story
a
along that because it was one of my favorites. This was a dealer group in Kentucky. F&I manager did that same thing. He walked around and he took a picture of the customer's tires and the rims here. And he brought it in as he was going through. He used theirs to illustrate one of the things that tire and wheel would cover. And he said, and by the way, let me share something with you. In case you're wondering whose car this is your trade.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we see why we need it, right? So big laugh, right? Those types of education, we miss that sometimes. It's that human connection, right?
Yeah. But a lot of people, they're looking for the shortest path to the sale. And sometimes we always say you have to slow it down, make the human connection. AI will never do that. AI will help you do that.
That's right, and that's what it should do. It should be assisting. It should be insisting us and making sure that we do a process that ultimately achieves what you're talking about right now, and that's connecting. I think maybe when we started in the industry, there wasn't a whole lot of training on how to connect with the customer. In fact, actually, I remember most of my training, was how to control the customer, not necessarily connect with the customer. And I love the fact that that's fundamentally changed, because I think one of the things that made me successful in the box was the fact that I just naturally connected. But it's a process. Like, I mean, just people, I don't think just naturally connect with someone. They actually do have to follow a process. And I like where we're going with this. One of the things, guys, I want to bring up, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is I call it full belly syndrome. And, when I think about all of like the dealerships I visited last year, that just kind of seemed to be the general mindset, right? It was there was so much talk about what they have achieved, but now what could they achieve? And I was I don't know, I was a little taken back by it. I don't know if I was surprised, and maybe this has been something that's been going on for a long time, but I'd love to kind of get you guys' perspective on just like, how do we help dealers not just focus on what have accomplished, but really kind of get them to focus on what their ability is. We do this in sports, right? We do this. This is very common in sports, right? Like, you practice, and what doesn't matter what sport you are, or if it's golf, how hard you're swinging the club, or where your impact is, or whatever it is. Like, we have an idea of kind of where we are, but we always have an objective to know what we could achieve when we really commit to it. I would love to kind of get you guys' perspective. Have you guys seen this? And what do you think dealers can do to kind of overcome this? I'll start with you, Mike.
I think that in general, when you're successful, you've had a period of time of success, there can be some tendency to rest on your laurels a little bit. I like to be healthily or unhealthily paranoid in anything I do, which is just remind myself anything good can always go away and anything bad can always be improved, right? So the way that you've got to look is good, bad, and different with your teams, with your people. When that month closes, we're on to the next month, right? It doesn't matter what we did in the past. I remember seeing a documentary, Tiger Woods going through some of the practice, right? When you're hitting 1,000 shots a day because you've got to be better, there's that famous joke about him talking to John Daly where John Daly said, "Why do you practice so often?" And he said, "Well, if I could hit the ball as far as you, I wouldn't have to," right? But and obviously he was a lot more successful. You only have to be a certain level of talent. People want to be the best, right? Thinking that it's some sort of utopian, well, if I say this and I know that, then I will be perfect. I'll be the best at this part of it. And when you start feeling that, that's really when, things are going to go poorly, in my opinion.
Yep, I
The
agree.
way to be the best is very simple. Know that you have your strengths, know what your weaknesses are, develop those, and constantly reassess, constantly work back on them. And if you're not doing that, if you're thinking, well, things have been going pretty good, right? I think I'm just fine, right? That sort of trend goes from, okay, I'm good, to becomes apathy. You start just going through the motions, and then things start to slip. And then when you try to change it all at once, it doesn't feel authentic, right? We talked about building connection. You're running yourself in a challenge. So just always, did I do the best I possibly could? And if I didn't, what can I change? And if I'm doing the best I possibly can in this particular area, what don't I know about in this part of the process, so that I can learn and I can be ahead of the curve?
I think I'm actually motivated by fear. And,
okay. I like that.
One of the things that's always driven me is I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything I have all the time. And some people say, how do you live your life that way? Always thinking that way. But the thing that it's always done for me is, at one point in my time, I did lose everything I had and kind of had to start over. And as I started over, it made me realize I don't ever want to go through that again.
Sure.
And then understanding that there's no level of complacency. Once you get to the level where you're going to produce the most that you possibly can, there has to be a level of self-awareness in there that says, okay, I can keep producing at this level, but if I need to go to this level, I have to be able to look inside me and say, I can't get there on my own.
That's true.
I have to be able to reach out and examine what other people more successful than me have done, and reach out for coaching, reach out for development to get me to that level.
Yes.
And have that self-awareness in you at all times, and the curiosity. It goes both ways. We have to be curious about our customer. We have to be curious about ourselves.
Well, and you're 100% right. And I love the fact that you brought up coaching, because when I think about it, I was a very committed athlete. Now my son is a very committed athlete in a different sport. And, what's fascinating is that I think just as us as individuals, we don't actually know what our full capabilities are. Like, we don't know, it's like we know what our best day was. We know what our best month was. But we don't know, was that 90% of our capabilities? Was that 70% of our capabilities? And this is where I find a good coach, like what you guys do. You guys are able to kind of help me identify. Like, what is okay? Here's where you're at. But honestly, I've met your team. I understand your market. I've seen your numbers. Like, this is, and that's what a good coach should do. That's what a good coach should do. You should be able to say, and I watch my son right now as he's playing soccer, and he's got this kicking coach. He's right now doing things that he didn't think he could do. Yeah. But that coach had the experience and the knowledge to look at him and say, no, you can do this. We're just going to work towards it. Right. And I think it's incredibly important for everybody out there watching and listening right now that you have that individual in your organization. If you don't, you need to find that individual. Guys, and look, I know we're getting towards the tail end kind of our conversation, but I got one for you. One of the things that I found super successful when I had my dealership is a meeting that I would host on about a biweekly basis with my entire staff and my leaders and my managers. I called it the little things meeting. Okay. It was a meeting that you could not bring any big deal up. All right. It just had to be something little that would impact the business in some way they saw fit. And this could impact employees and staff. It could impact, the customer themselves, right? For you guys, I'm just curious, if I brought you guys into that little things meeting, what little thing would you bring? Mike, I'll start with you.
That's a great question. I would say if I was looking at little things, I would probably focus on how often am I smiling with my interactions with everybody every day. That would be mine, because bad moods are contagious.
100%.
Good moods are contagious. It's an easy thing to change. You talk about it, and I think it's we've been sitting here. The vibe is good, right? It's fun. We're happy, and you can feel that, and you can feel the inverse, right? So that would be my little thing.
I like that. No, that's a good one. That's wildly impactful, right? So go ahead.
I think little things can really become big things without realizing it.
That is true.
And one of the things I think that we've done, Mike and I have had opportunities to do joint coaching sessions for large dealer groups in a big meeting setting, and it's fun. The group gets engaged. We do a stump the trainer type thing. And I think everybody that sat in and watched that, they all take away something really cool from that. And I think, man, I'm going to incorporate that into my process. And the little thing that it is how do you incorporate it into what they currently do?
Yes.
And that little thing becomes such a gigantic thing, because if you don't know how to implement the new things that you've learned, all of a sudden that little thing just morphed into the most catastrophic thing that could happen to you. You're either
100%.
going to fail to implement the new things, the new challenge, the new adaptation that you have to have to incorporate that. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to do. And one of the things that I do when I'm training in a store is I won't just teach, this is what you say and this is how you handle it.
Sure.
I walk them out into the showroom and say, follow me. I'm going to show you how to do this.
That's a little thing that I think goes a long way.
That little thing is that a lot of people come in and train, and you just can't train it when they have a mental block in their head and they think, boy, I do this process every day. How can I implement this little thing into that process? And if they don't know how to do that smoothly, or they think that's going to leave them out on an island by themselves, stumped by their customer, and their paycheck is impacted by their inability to move forward with it, then it just became a really big thing.
It did.
And that's where the benefit of, look, you're not going to go backwards in pay. Let me show you how to do it. Let me show you the confidence that comes with being able to do it. And then after that, you'll be able to do it.
You guys, those are amazing little things. I think everybody out there watching and listening, you need to have a little things meeting at your dealership and find out what little things. And these are great ones. I love, getting out into the showroom. That's a great one. Yeah. Mike, I'm so with you on the smiling thing, by the way.
Yeah,
dude, it's 100%. It's everything. I mean, I actually, I remember I actually started getting my team to smile when they answer the phone.
Of course.
So not just even in person, right? You can, can't you, Mike?
Yep,
you
no
can,
question.
100%.
Put a little makeup mirror on the desk.
You'll actually hear the difference, and you almost know if someone's smiling on the other side. It's little things, guys, that make really big differences. Hey, but before I let you go, for everybody out there watching and listening right now, who would love to connect, because I don't think we necessarily covered everything. I think we brought up some great topics, and there's still some great discussion to be had. Mike, what's the best way to connect and learn more about what you guys do?
Yeah, you can find us at Wise F&I, or WiseFandy, as we like to say, .com. I'm on LinkedIn. Dale's on LinkedIn, and you'll see me posting occasionally on Ethical F&I as well. You'll find me on Facebook. Find me there. Reach out, and I truly, every day, I live and breathe this space. I love the business. I love talking about it. So if you want to pick my brain, if you want to run something by somebody, if you just want to say, hey, what's up, just reach out, because I don't tire of the sound of my own voice.
We all have that in common.
Guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys' time today. This has been an absolute blast. And for everybody out there watching and listening, definitely reach out to these wise guys here. They truly love this industry and are very passionate about it, and just love talking to people and helping them and encourage them to do better. Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening, we appreciate you. Look, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is share the show. It means so much. Look, I know you're not going to smash the subscribe, or we'll hopefully you hit the like button. But no, seriously though, if there's a manager or a colleague that needs to see some portion of today's conversation, you're totally cool when you share the show. Hey guys, thanks again so much.
Thanks, Jason. It's
a
pleasure.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Shift into Profit, the podcast where we break down the people, processes, and technology that turn dealerships into profit machines. If today's conversation helped you, share the show and help another operator win. And we'll see you in the next episode.